Hi, welcome back to the Scent Advocate. Tonight we're talking about bread fragrances. These fragrances have the wonderful, doughy, carbohydrate accord of bread. Very comforting, warm, cozy, slightly gourmand in some instances, but potentially universally likable bread. The beverage for this evening is a rosé. I didn't know what Mark was making for dinner, and I suspected it would be some kind of white meat or seafood, and rosé seemed like the safest choice. This is an Argentinian organic rosé. So grab yourself a beverage, get comfortable, and let's jump right in, shall we? All right. Tonight's first fragrance is Panettone. You've probably heard of this one. By Milano Fragranze. This is a 2021 release. It is an EDP. It is 100 ml and it goes for about $140, which, let me just get this real quick. There we go. Which I think is an excellent deal, especially as prices currently go for niche and indie fragrances. The nose behind this is Mathilde Bijawi. I'm probably mispronouncing that name, so please forgive me. I'm doing my best. I do not speak French. The notes in this are orange, Divana, ginger, mandarin, rum immortelle, marigold, vanilla, and buckwheat. So what does it smell like? Well, for me, this is a strong Italian bakery fragrance. Now, those of you who are familiar with my channel know that I am not Italian. I am Sicilian, 100%, both sides of my family. But rare was the occasion when we could find a Sicilian bakery. So very often it was an Italian bakery in Brooklyn or any of the 5 boroughs. My family is from Brooklyn. And in the bakery, there were baked goods, of course, with lots of the dreaded citron. Citron is, and I say dreaded because it's my opinion, citron is the candied rind of a citrus fruit. So figure orange, lemon, maybe some lime, whatever, and it's preserved, I believe, in a candied form. It's almost like looks like a gummy candy. And they put it in various baked goods, and the whole place reeks of it. Reeks of that and like an anise scent, and it is heavenly. As a young person, I didn't appreciate it, and I was told that it was an adult flavor that I would eventually grow to appreciate, and that was absolutely true. So at this point in my life, I absolutely adore not only the complexity of the fragrance, the connotation of my ethnicity, but the nostalgia. And this is a bakery, baked goods, particularly breads, with citron in it. That's what's going on here. It's sophisticated, familiar. It's, just a coziness from the various Italian baked goods, and in particular, a brioche Italian bread accoutred with beautiful citron notes. And this is Panettone by Milano Fragranze. And there you go. Moving on, we have, I love this one, from Kyse Parfums. It is a Gateau de Carnaval. I think I said Gateau right. Please don't criticize me too much in the comments. So this is a 50 ml. It is an EDP, and it goes for about $95, which again is a pretty good price as far as niche fragrance goes, and this is as niche as it gets. So the notes in here are funnel cake, vanilla milk, brown sugar, and apricot. But what do I get when I smell it? Well, a strong green apricot at the opening. It's not overly sweet. There's at the opening, there's an almost industrial kind of oily, heavy feel to it, and that is, I'm not saying it's like an offshore oil rig type, crude oil. It may just be an overly cooked, deep frying oil, and giving it kind of a grittiness, and it's that's kind of embellishing the funnel cake and other gourmand-esque notes in this bottle, and it gives it kind of a gritty toughness. So you're not just thinking about the carnival where you get the funnel cake, you're thinking about the carnival workers who are there, the reality of what makes the carnival work, together with the pleasantries of the carnival in experience. And the disparity of the two. I didn't realize it would be a political funnel cake fragrance, like a political funnel cake. But it's a political funnel cake. It's got two very divergent experiences occurring in one bottle. There you go. I wish it were less silly, but it's that's just my take on it. This is absolutely beautiful, universally likable, nostalgic, carefree, and at the same time, there's a contemplative note to the seriousness of the general accord. I think you'll find this far more complex than at first you might assume. This is Gateau de Carnaval by Kyse. Moving on, we've got I'm sorry. My mother lives with us. We're a sandwich generation family. Do you know anyone like that? So I've got my little girl and I've got my mother, both of whom live with us. Of course, my child lives with us, but my mother lives with us. And my mother is downstairs, right below where I'm filming right now. And my mother has hearing aids, and there's a disconnect literally between her phone and the hearing aids. And as a result of that, she yells when she's on the phone, which is what's going on right now. If you can hear that in the background, just know that it's the absolute auditory beauty of family that's going on here in the home of the scent advocate, and have some mercy. So apologies if you can hear this. Let's move on to the next fragrance. So here we have Donna Sentenza by Hilde Soliani. So what kind of bread is this? This is banana bread. Oh, it is exquisite. This is a 100 ml EDP. It was released in 2018. It goes for about $175. The notes are pretty straightforward. We've got banana, whipped cream, and vanilla. However, I get a much more complex experience from this. We've got a beautiful and perfectly newly ripe banana. So imagine you knew you were going to make banana bread yesterday when you went to the grocery store, and you got some slightly green bananas, knowing that they would be fully yellow by today when you're going to make the banana bread. And so you open the bananas and you're mashing away, and this is what the bananas smell like, with a hint of the carbohydrate associated with the bread that they will eventually become part of. That's what's going on here. It's not yet baked banana bread, but it's the component parts, most especially that very newly ripe mashed banana. Gorgeous stuff. A very photorealistic banana here, with the notes associated with the vanilla and the whipped cream, giving it that bready kind of accord. Beautiful stuff by one of the queens, one of the ultimate gurus of gourmand, Hilde Soliani. You have to like gourmand, though. Let me just say that, to be clear. All right, next we have Oh, let's see. Where are we with this? Hold on. I might be missing a piece. Well, we'll just deal with it. So next we have Fior de Pane, and this is by Profumo di Firenze. This is an EDP 100 ml 2023 release, and it goes for about $120. This is bergamot violet, bread accord, orange blossom, cypriol, iris, vanilla, tonka bean, cedar, and moss. This is the quintessential bread fragrance, but for me, it is bread and violets. I say violets as opposed to iris, which often get grouped together, and in the fragrance world, potentially unfairly made indistinguishable. I do think there's a distinction. I think that perhaps the violets are a bit more subtle. There's still a more linear experience as opposed to the iris that can be more dynamic. It can be everything from powdery to full-on floral to like an oily makeup type feel. I think violet is much more direct, and this is violet, even though it says iris. That's what I get. This is bread and flowers, right? So imagine a bread basket at a bridal shower. You know, there's the faintest hint of Jordan almonds in the background, you know, that true sugary candy accord going on, and there's freshly baked, beautiful bread and flowers, and those flowers, of course, are violets, right? Just lovely purple violets. Spring florals for your June nuptials. That's what's going on with this. I think a lot of people get a very pronounced bread accord. I think this is bread and flowers. This is not the strongest bread accord I get from the fragrances in my collection. But if you like bread and you don't want to go full gourmand on the bread, you don't actually want to smell like a dinner roll, this is one to consider because it has that substantial floral, powdery floral note with the violet. So once again, this is Fior di Pane by Profumo di Firenze. And moving on, we next have, let's see, Partey by, again, Hilde Soliani. This is a newer addition to my collection. I absolutely fell in love. I thought perhaps this would be some kind of birthday cake based on the label. It's not at all. So this is Hilde Soliani. This is 100 ml. It is an EDP, a 2025 release, and it goes for about $235. Wow. Substantially more expensive than the Hilde Soliani fragrances I've added to my collection in the past. I can't really explain that. It could be an error. If it is an error, let me know in the comments. So here we have notes of milk, butter, vanilla, brioche, sugar, biscuit, and custard. Wow. To me, this is straight up brioche. In fact, let me go a step further and say this reminds me of a German bakery. When I was a child, a very young child, I spent the formative years of my youth in Germany, Ostdeutschland. And this is definitely Brochen und Kuchen, without question. Bread rolls and cake together in a bakery. Not overly sweet, definitely the opposite of synthetic, not what you would get from a more traditional mainstream American bakery. This is old world style yeast dough, real sugar, Old world baked goods right here. Gorgeous stuff. Wow. If you haven't experienced this, you really should, even if you're not into gourmands, but you appreciate the soothing, comforting experience of fresh baked bread. You got to try this one. It is extraordinary. This is Partey by Hilde Soliani. Let me just say, these fragrances from Hilde Soliani have exceptional performance, right? They project beautifully, they last incredibly long amounts of time, and I just couldn't be more excited about the house. She seems to focus on various kinds of gourmands, and she's got everything from, unsweet breads to very pronounced gourmand leaning florals like certain violets, and she's got full-on sweet baked goods, um, clear through savory fragrances that I think some of them even have like oysters and oceanic notes. Really extraordinary stuff. Hilde Soliani, check out this house if you haven't. Moving on, the last fragrance in my lineup is, let's see here. We've got Serge Lutens, Jus de Peau, and here it is. This is the breadiest of the bread in my collection. This fragrance I've had for a few years. This starts out the breadiest of the bread, okay? And I don't have any notes with me on this because I just wanted to give you my unadulterated impression of the fragrance without the advent of any notes. And wow. The opening is, like I said, full-on bread. Imagine like a baguette, a French baguette. And by the way, this is a Dapper. There you go. I don't love that, but it's how it came. I must have ordered it that way. I don't know if this comes in a spray bottle. If it did, I would have gone for that, but this is what came, and so I just consider it kismet and I go with it, This is definitely a gourmand, but a unisex gourmand. It settles on the skin after about 15 minutes into a beautiful non-iris, non-osmanthus, non-powdery floral. It's got a hint of musk and the baked bread as a kind of an accoutrement in the background. It is there lingering, its presence being apparent, but not at the forefront. That beautiful, slightly floral musk is, and let me just say, for naked fragrances, and those of you who like, your skin but better, try this. Try this. I never hear anyone talk about it in that category, and it's a bread for sure, but whoa. It would be amazing in that category. If your objective is to have a, kind of clean person, your skin but better naked fragrance, give this a try. I guarantee it's a standout, distinguishable fragrance. It's got something so compelling, so gorgeous, such a beautifully expressive musk going on with the backdrop of that bread. And it's just unique and exquisite. I've never smelled anything quite like it. And this is a treasure. Absolutely stunning. Serge Lutens, Jus de Peau. Here we go. The breadiest of the bread and the most exquisite among my bread-forward fragrances. Can you see this beautiful gem? By the way, It looks like a cloche. Of course, like I said, it's a dapper fragrance, but wow, isn't it beautiful? So understated, so lovely, and it goes with any collection. There we go. So let me know, what do you think of tonight's bread lineup? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you're not yet a subscriber to the channel, please consider subscribing. We would love to have you join the crew. Please leave me a comment if you have any other amazing bread fragrances that I haven't tried. I would love to. I really love carbohydrate forward fragrances, especially when they've got some interesting nuance and depth to them, like Fleur de Peau. Did I say it right? Nope, I sure didn't. Jeux de Peau. Sorry, wrong fragrance house. Jeux de Peau. I would love to hear about it. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.